Hey guys, welcome back.
If you're just joining our channel now, for those of you who don't know, I'm Pudgy.
I'm Spartan. Today we wanted to do a review of WandaVision. Finally finished the season. Our reactions are all up on the channel, so if you haven't checked those out, take a look. And at the end of each season or series, we like to do a little bit of a discussion, a review, a recap of our thoughts, an opportunity to sort of exchange viewpoints on things with you guys as well. And obviously a way to sort of put all our thoughts in one place and recap, because in the reactions, we're breaking down episode by episode and sort of going along the journey. Then we take a little time to be able to reflect and look back on everything that's happened and then discuss it, which we find fun and we hope you guys enjoy as well. So I think it goes without saying that this series would have definitely duped a lot of people, and I can see why people mentioned in the comments that a lot of people had dropped off in the first few episodes, and we can definitely see why, because we were thinking, what the hell are we watching? Like, I even had a bit of a context because I knew it was about Wanda dealing with grief. So I'm like, okay, this must be something related to her grief, and we were speculating, is she in a coma? Is this in her subconscious somewhere? Like, we were sort of theorizing.
I'm not sure if this is misplaced, but I feel like what gave people that mistrust for them to actually take it somewhere serious was also the background from the movies. But like, they kind of went a comical route. I just think that because of that historical comic relief, starting off a series this way and something that people aren't used to at all, because it's like such an old era style of TV or television, that they're kind of like, oh, well, this isn't gonna have any depth to it. It's just kind of lighthearted and has no real story behind it. I feel like that's what people might have thought who didn't give it a chance. Yes, this has comic relief, but it's way left field compared to like what the superhero universe usually offers. So I think people were just like, okay, this is like a major joke, and then just didn't even want to stick with it.
Yeah, well, anyway, the point I was making was pretty much that, but that this, beyond just that point, that it actually just went, it was just so weird and so out there that it takes till the fourth episode to really appreciate it. Now, if you pay close attention and you have a little bit of faith, which I think we did, that it was going to head somewhere, but granted, we had the benefit of hearing a few positive takes that people had on it, saying it's a good series and worth watching. It does enough in the first three episodes, I think, to tease a few bits and pieces and mysteries to make you think, okay, hang on. But it's really the fourth episode where you really appreciate the value in the first three, and you see that the emotional connection it makes to the world, and then the shock factor when you realize that this is all sort of, well, Wanda's basically almost got what was it called? The Hex.
The Hex.
There's a Hex where Wanda's basically mind controlling an entire town of people and almost broadcasting like a reality TV show, which we later find out to be related to her traumas in different eras and how she dealt with them with certain shows, like happy periods in her life. Then adds a real like, holy shit, the scope of this is bigger than I thought. And I know for me personally, it made me question, like, is Wanda, has she gone evil? Is she even, like, I felt like I knew her well enough to know what she'd be like, and then this show and that whole twist really made me question her morals and values as a hero, which then kept me guessing each episode, well, shit, do I trust her or do I not? Like, what's right and what's wrong here, you know?
Yeah, I'm not sure that I really questioned whether she had ill intent or not. I just attributed it to her grief, her pain. So I know that with pain, like, extreme things can happen, such as this. But I think the reason why we potentially loved the first three episodes so much, even though there were only little like Easter eggs, if you will, was because we found enough to kind of analyze and critique and, really try and find the clues, which we particularly love.
Yeah, I don't know if I'd say we loved them. I think by episode 3, we cottoned on to what it was happening, and we were a bit intrigued. But episode 1, I was like, what the hell is this? And then episode 2, we sort of started to find it fun and funny a little bit, and we still were hoping that it would go somewhere more.
Yeah.
Episode 3 and 4 really we started to get into, okay, this is getting more serious and more is going on here, you know?
Yeah.
But we definitely, like most of you guys, I think, you see it in the reactions. First few episodes, we were really unsure, and
but we were still engaged.
Yeah. But because we were both depending on this to turn out to be a lot darker and for there to be a bigger underlying purpose behind all this. had it just maintained that throughout the series, I would have said, pretty boring. What I thought was powerful about this show, personally, and I know you feel the same, was that both of us came into this not having any particular emotional connection to Vision or Wanda. Seen them in Avengers and some of the movies, and liked them. They were okay. They had their cool moments, but I didn't really care about them. And I never thought I wouldn't go out of my way. Like, when I heard WandaVision's having a series, I was like, okay. Like, hence why I was watching it so late. I had no drive, oh my God, I've got to watch this, versus if it was like, Captain America series or a Batman series, something that I'm like, oh, I've got to watch that like right now. Oh, we were both pretty chilled about it. And yet, by the end of this, it's made me want to go back to watch their roles in the MCU more, because now I feel like, wow. And I actually miss Vision. I miss the fact that he's dead. And I'm looking forward to seeing Wanda in the upcoming Doctor Strange movie, because I'm actually now excited to see her story grow a little bit more. And as a hero, I think we had both their stories really flushed out well and given them more airtime that they perhaps lacked on the big screen.
Yeah, agreed. I felt invested in their characters, which the movies lacked.
Yeah, and their pain and their lives. It was a lot more interesting.
Their whole journey.
And we get a bit more insight into what Wanda and Vision's relationship would have been like, because we don't really see between the events of Captain America Civil War and Infinity War, when they were, in hiding, what their lives were like and how Vision sort of helped her cope with the loss of her brother and, her power that she had difficulty controlling and all the rest of it. So they sort of formed a relationship off that. And he was the one person she felt understood her, but we didn't get to see a lot of that. And now we got to see a lot more about the role he sort of played in her life, which I thought was pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah, I really enjoyed their relationship. Again, like something that the movies lacked. I mean, I think this whole series is an in hindsight series. Like, there's so many clues along the way, and then when you kind of go back or reflect back onto the series and particular scenes and dialogue, you go, oh shit, that's what that meant. Like, something that could have meant nothing had so much meaning. And one example that I particularly liked was in the first episode when Mr. Hart came with Mrs. Hart to Wanda and Vision's house for dinner, and he was choking. What was particularly interesting was that it initially happened when Mr. Hart was asking Wanda and Vision where they're from, what their life was like before they moved to this town, and they were literally choking on their answers. They could not find an answer. They had no idea. And I feel like he was representing Wanda's subconscious, like choking on that answer. And then the wife, Mrs. Hart, saying, no, stop it, is kind of like her memories kind of just trying to push those memories back down. And
perhaps I also read a comment which was interesting, which said that, I don't know if he's actually her husband. I think he might have been. I think he was. And a comment said that she was, she was sort of laughing and we found it weird. She was like, stop it. That she was actually sort of asking she couldn't break the act because she was under control, but she was actually like sort of pleading with Wanda, like, stop, like, fix it kind of thing. So someone in the comments said that, and I don't know if that was just an interpretation, but I liked it because she did look like she was struggling but laughing. It was really weird. So I think there's also merit to that. I think both of them can work simultaneously.
Yeah.
But it was like she was saying stop it, and it's like Wanda was looking all confused, and then Vision sort of jumps in, because I think Wanda sort of, at that point as well, we now know that she was sort of starting to come to, but she hadn't realised what reality she created. She was sort of half doped out about it.
She was like quite accepting of it and just like, okay, this is the reality now.
Almost like she'd suppressed her consciousness into this world.
Yeah, for sure.
And so I think she was sort of, once she couldn't remember her past, she was sort of starting to figure out. She didn't have full control yet where she could just fix it instantly.
Yeah. And it's funny because, like, I would say that Mrs. Hart was quite ditzy, like, because she was, kind of going along with the European excuse of things. But in hindsight, it's not ditzy at all. It's, the control of Wanda.
Yeah. Going off that, I just think it was really cool. A lot of people say, Marvel story writing is so generic and it's basic and anyone who likes is a simpleton and whatever, blah, blah. And honestly, sometimes Marvel's writing is generic, but sometimes it's actually brilliant. And to be honest, this is an example of that. Like, there are so many hidden, already we've discussed the way they presented it with those first few episodes, leaving you really unsure on what's going on and then slowly feeding you bits of color, which is a bit of a mystery in itself. And then you realize the scale of what's going on without still knowing why. Why is Wanda doing this? What's happened? But you sort of get a perspective on what's happening, and you see that you've been watching it through the lens of the TV show. So that gives you in itself more of an emotional connection to the perspective of what the other characters outside the Hex are sort of dealing with. But then even further than that, going through era by era, starting from I think the 50s or 60s and going onwards, each era every decade, and then theming the show based on that. I mean, we had like Bewitched, I Dream of Jeannie, we had Malcolm in the Middle, I think.
I Love Lucy.
Yeah, and you know, some other ones that we may not have known all of them, but then theming it, which we started to pick up on, theming the episodes and the intro and the tone from an iconic show in that decade was a really fun, cool thing that if you're a little bit older and you can sort of draw on those shows and those experiences or you witness them, again, there's a further depth to the story writing behind this. And then I thought it was just really well written all the way till the end, you know?
It was very creative and it was executed well. Like, you can go wrong with that, right? But I feel like they executed it perfectly. The other thing that I found interesting was when Dottie actually cut her hand, there was a conversation or some dialogue between Wanda and Dottie where Dottie was kind of calling Wanda out, saying like, you know, I've heard about you and your husband, and Wanda's treading very carefully, saying, look, I don't know what you've heard, but I don't mean to harm anyone. And Dottie goes, I don't believe you. I thought those words were quite interesting. And I guess now in hindsight, my theory is that it's because she felt the pain inside and it was just kind of coming up in that conversation.
Maybe. I was thinking as well that maybe Agatha was purposely playing that, because she did say that she was playing with certain things in the Hex to mess it up, to try and almost break Wanda and see how she created this. So I feel like that might have been her messing with that as well.
Yeah. Agatha was like a weird character for me in terms of I felt like her only goal was power. And there wasn't really much depth to her story in terms of that. It was just, I want power because I can.
Yeah, I think it's a good thing that she wasn't a critical part of the series, because she did feel quite bland and generic, but it didn't take away from the series because we were so focused on Wanda and Vision and their family and this whole issue with the Hex.
Yeah, it was just like something to build up as like a final threat.
Yeah. Now, did you see that coming? Because I'm not gonna lie, I didn't see Agatha being a villain or something.
I had some suspicions. I don't know what I was thinking, whether she'd be a villain or not, but because I recognized her as some MCU character, I knew there was something up, and that's why she was a bit different to everyone else. I mean, and you slowly start to pick up on it as well. Like, she was always trying to get involved in Wanda's life in one way or another. And even in episode 1, you see her, Wanda asking her to leave, and she's still trying to find her way back in. And that was like quite odd from the start. And I guess she also used the fake Pedro to try and draw that information out of Wanda. Maybe she thought that Wanda would eventually trust him and open up as to how she created this Hex.
Perhaps. And on that note, I mean, pretty cool little cameo there that had me confused for a little bit, which by using the Quicksilver from X-Men's universe as the Quicksilver of the MCU's universe, you know, fans who would have picked up on that would have been cool, because that was like, left me confused. And the fact that he had powers too, at the time, you don't know that Agatha's given him abilities, and you're thinking, how can he's literally got the powers, like, I don't know whether they were going to try and play him off as the new Quicksilver, and I was like he was always her brother, and they just had casting issues for the series or something. I was like, well, that would really not flow well, but no, there ended up being a cool mystery behind that as well, which was good.
Yeah, which I liked. But, you know, so she's very manipulative. Like, she would find any way possible to kind of draw that out of Wanda. Like, she even mentioned, she's like, oh, look, I was going to get your real brother, but guess what? He's in pieces all over the world. Or, you know.
Yeah, she seemed pretty heartless, but again, just pretty generic overall and not too interesting. But the writing of each episode was good enough where she served as a vehicle to enhance Wanda as a character and her story. And because of that, it didn't really, I don't feel like it detracted from anything, because in the second last episode, her main vehicle was to take Wanda through her pains from childhood to adult to try and figure out how she got her powers, what happened. And that took us on a journey that we hadn't gotten to see Wanda on that personal scale and really explore her own pain and her traumas going throughout her life and the struggles she's had. So that was really cool and served to, you know, facilitate that. And then in the last episode, it really served to facilitate Wanda's conviction about overcoming her trauma and her pain and
really learning about herself too.
Yeah, and it was just, so it ended up playing out pretty cool. because it served to grow Wanda, and it was written in a way where you could overlook Agatha being pretty generic, which I think probably as writers they were sort of not too fussed about her because she wasn't meant to be it wasn't really about her. In this series, the biggest villain in a sense was Wanda's grief and her struggle to overcome it.
Yeah.
And that was the most detrimental, destructive thing to her, and as a result, those around her because of her powers. It wasn't so much that Agatha was ever really a huge threat.
Yeah, yeah. At least until the very last episode, you know. A threat to Wanda's life as she knew it, her reality ending. I guess that was the biggest threat that she ever was.
Yeah. Now, if you know me by now, you know that I'm always looking for at least a few epic fight scenes. Now, granted, this series was good enough that for most part, I wasn't really even looking for that because I was actually invested in the storytelling and the cliffhangers. It was so nice to have some good cliffhangers. And as you said before, the mysteries that kept us going and we were paying attention for the little details, trying to figure out what they meant. Like, I found that really fun. So especially to react to, but even just on a journey of watching, this was enjoyable because we had to really think and get involved and try and pick up on as much as we could as possible and fill in the gaps.
Because they really didn't give you too much to try and pick up on. So we really enjoyed trying to find so much detail in such little content.
Yeah, and so that was cool in itself. But I was very happy by the time the action finally came in. I was not disappointed.
Oh, okay.
Vision versus Vision was really cool.
Yeah.
There were some cool scenes there. Okay? I'm not saying it was a masterpiece, it was perfect, but it was cool enough to really satisfy that itch. They had some big scale battles. I mean, when White Vision's holding Wanda and then the real Vision just bang comes in.
That was cool.
Reminded me of that Man of Steel scene where he's saving his mother. Some of you might know what I'm talking about. And it's what I was waiting for. That emotion was just like, yeah, like excited that Vision came back and just like, let's go when, we're on. And it was cool as well because that fight satisfied the itch for a big explosive battle. Got to show us a bit more of Vision's abilities that I feel like we haven't explored as much as we probably could have in the MCU. But then, true to Vision's character and sort of the way he dealt with most of his battles in the end, particularly, with Ultron, was that it was one of more of compassion because he had knowledge. He was a knowledge-based being and he had insight and understanding. And he won the battle by relating, understanding that it wasn't just about being stronger than the person as such, And it was such a Vision way to win the battle, especially with himself.
Yeah, that was such a beautiful scene. Like, that slow realization that they were kind of both getting for each other's minds, I guess, or like systems, their systems.
What?
Like, because they're not human beings, like, they're computational systems, like they're software. Yeah.
I think Vision, the one who'd already established free will, was then helping.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like, I felt like he gave Ultron this chance, and Ultron refused to make a decision that could help the world. He just decided that it was only worth burning down with that computational capability to analyze all the database in the world. Whereas this Vision was able to relate to his counterpart and sort of share his view of the world, and that's where they were able to settle for justice. And, I mean, pretty big. This now opens up the gateway for Vision to return to the MCU.
I know. I'm really hoping that happens so we can actually see him in action with a team.
Yeah,
that would
I
be
feel like
great.
he's going to have an entry at some point in someone else's movie when you least expect it.
Yeah.
Ideally, maybe if Wanda gets her own movie or something, that would be cool. But it's kind of cool. They've sort of brought Vision back without fully bringing him back. But based on their battle, I feel like this Vision's just as strong. So
Yeah, they left it quite open-ended, which is great.
And then on Wanda's front with her battle, I mean, that was just really cool. It was generic to a point, and I was hoping it wasn't going to be a generic finish, and thankfully we're both really satisfied that they had that cool ending, which they foreshadowed earlier, but it wasn't obvious and easy to pick up, and the fact that you didn't see it coming was even better. When Wanda was shooting, her blast.
Yeah, I just thought it was strange. I was like,
I was
what's
sus about
right?
it, but then when she drew back on the symbols, it was just nice. It was just, there was so much like symbolics behind that, and it showed her character development and her growth, and how she'd made her resolve. And it was not good writing. It was a satisfying way for her to beat a generic sort of villain without a generic sort of outcome. So that was cool.
And it was nice at the end, although it was like a small scene and not a big part of the series, but it was nice to kind of see her in solitude, just by herself, isolating and just really learning. And we saw her tap into this, I guess, new ability of her consciousness being outside of her body and just learning while she gets to just relax.
Yeah, which we assume that ties into, again, Doctor Strange.
Yeah.
Because you could hear the voices of her children, and it looks like she's studying, so I feel like we're going to see her be a proper witch now with
I can't
spells and
wait.
stuff, so that'd be pretty cool. But yeah, you could tell she's taking this to the next level, and her new costume, can't not mention that, pretty badass. I like a good costume, and looked badass, looked cool in this, I liked it. And we even got a little throwback to her, like, I don't know which era it was, but her, the earlier editions of her costume in the comics, in one of the Halloween episodes, she dressed up as Scarlet Witch, but
Yeah.
an older version, but this newer version looks cool.
So I just wanted to talk about those commercials. Like, there were so many throughout the episodes, and I feel like they had so much depth to them. And I guess lots of people will kind of get different things out of them depending on what they really paid attention to. But what was the first one? I've got them written down here. Oh, the toaster commercial. So I don't know what you got from that, but I looked at it again closely, and it was kind of representing, I guess now in hindsight, that scene where Wanda and her brother were under the bed and they saw the Tony Stark or the Stark Industries missile.
It was made by Stark Industries.
Yeah, and so during the toaster commercial, the toaster was made, I guess, there was like a red flashy thing, and it was flashing faster and faster and faster, and then pop, the toast comes out. And so to me, that was kind of representing that missile. And then they mentioned Stark Industries.
Well, do the dreams, I mean, yeah,
The commercials.
The commercial, sorry, do they represent her traumas? Or, because people have been saying Doctor Strange was trying to reach her through those commercials, and I don't know which ones.
Yeah, I mean, potentially it could be trying to break through her subconscious so she can realize what's happening in real life, what the reality is outside of this bubble.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely feel like each commercial, like going off that one, but even the other ones, I just feel like each one, they had little hints towards her grief, because there were subtle words that you could pick out, and
100%.
in each one that looked like it was almost little tickets into. I mean, I feel like there's more to it that I haven't grasped yet, but little tickets into the stages of her grief that she was going through.
So the Strucker commercial, which is the watch commercial, I feel like that was kind of the same concept. There wasn't really much that I picked up on until right in at the end, where they kind of zoom into the watch and it's the Strucker's just kind of going faster and faster, and then boom, almost like a bomb again. Kind of just emphasizing, if it is a, I guess, message from Doctor Strange, emphasizing that, you know, this is what happened and this is the start of your journey. But yeah, so I feel like, yeah, it was just that same kind of pattern. So the Hydra Soap commercial was quite interesting, I found. At the start of it, there was like 3 or 4 compilations of chaotic things happening in the household environment. One was the dog pissing on the carpet, cereal like kind of splashing everywhere, and a few things like that. And then I felt like that was kind of representing the chaos that Wanda has experienced in her life, like losing her brother, losing Vision, losing her parents, all those kinds of things. And then we kind of go into the Hydra Soak part where she's in a bath, and I've written it down so I don't forget. And it says, Hydra Soak offers a world where you can escape from that reality. If it is, again, like a message, just kind of him saying, you know, you're not in the reality. You have escaped from it because of this. Like, wake up. You're grieving. And I thought that was actually quite an interesting commercial. The next one was the Lagos paper, or the Lagos paper. So the paper towel.
Yeah, that was weird.
Yeah. So I didn't really pick up on anything until right at the end, when there was one line. And that line was Lagos, for when you make a mess when you didn't mean to.
Yeah, that's the line too.
Yeah, so obviously it's referring to her creating this world without those intentions. And I mean, hindsight's a great thing, isn't it? Because like during these commercials, we were just like, what the hell is going on? Like, we have no idea. They just randomly appeared.
Yeah, I was, what the hell? I thought not much of them during the series.
So the next one was the Yo Magic yogurt. Now, I don't know why it was a shark. I don't know if that was just coincidence. And there was like a little kid. Yo Magic is the snack for survivors. My interpretation was that Wanda is the survivor. It's kind of like survivor's guilt. Everyone around her has passed away through traumatic experiences. And yeah, I feel like she's got that survivor's guilt. You know, she's also a survivor of that pain, and this is how she's surviving. But then it was interesting, and I guess it was in line with the actual TV series, where the little boy was trying to open the yogurt and it's just glitching out.
Yeah, that one was the most weird one, I think. That I didn't get that one fully because
Yeah.
he couldn't open it and he was like sort of dying.
Yeah,
I
he
didn't
was
fully-
dying,
I
wasn't
didn't fully
he?
get what that meant.
Let us know what your thoughts are on that particular commercial, because I think we're kind of stuck with what that actually meant. So the last commercial was the Nexus commercial, which was the antidepressant tablet.
That's probably the most obvious one too, because there were so many lines in that.
Yeah. So I'll read out what I've written down here. It goes, "Do you feel depressed like the world goes on without you?" Well, yes, she does. A tablet that helps to anchor you back to your reality, or the reality of your choice. I thought that was quite interesting. The side effects, are you ready? Feeling your feelings, confronting your truth, seizing your destiny, and more depression.
Yeah.
You shouldn't take it unless your doctor has cleared you to move on with your life.
Yeah, so that one was pretty obviously related to her grief.
Yeah.
And probably like the different stages she was going through in her grief and even the risks associated with trying to deal with her pain this way for too long in this
Yeah.
sort of delusional bubble that she created.
I just, like, looking back on it, really going through those commercials, there's so much detail there. And, I mean, my opinion, it's not generic at all. It's not simple writing.
Well, again, just enhances the quality of story writing that went into this series, that every little detail, even the ones that seemed insignificant, played a role and upon further analysis actually facilitated the story's depth to a greater degree and you get more out of it. And it's something that you can really, again, look back into and realize, shit, we actually, you missed a lot or didn't understand everything in it, which so there's more depth than first meets the eye in the series.
Yeah, for sure. And I think that's probably one of my favorite things about the series. Like, you can rewatch it and pick up on small details again. Again, with hindsight, there is so much more depth there.
And we love the story writing style. Like,
Yeah.
we've come to love, especially you mentioned like almost every series where you look for that when it leaves you gaps and questions, and then later in the season comes full circle and covers all the loose ends and explains things that you didn't even realize you'd missed to change the direction of the story completely to what you thought it was, where you thought it was going.
Yeah.
And we've come to really like that. You look forward to almost that episode, like later in the series when we realize what went on, how Wanda started this world, or what went on during it and after, and everything in between. And it's like, oh shit, that's what happened. And you get that satisfying aha moment where you finally, the questions in your brain are answered.
Yeah.
But you felt like along the way you're sort of drip fed answers which give you opportunity to create theories and have ideas, but you're never fully satisfied. You're like, yeah, but that doesn't fully stack up here, and then you get that all full loop. You get to see all the missing dots are connected,
But you know what the thing is? It can also be done horribly. Like, because the series could be amazing, and then the way they represent or fill in those gaps, they can sometimes not go about it in a creative way, but I felt like they did. We kind of got to walk through and hold Wanda's hand while she's reliving that pain, reliving all those memories, and realize with her why she is here and how this world was created. So, very aware that this is a bit different day that we were recording this, but I forgot one point that I wanted to make about the series of WandaVision. The one thing that I really, really liked was the different aspect ratios that they focused on throughout the series. I loved how they had, I don't know what the ratios are, but the cropped ratio for when we're experiencing wonders.
I think it's like a 4:3 ratio or something anyway.
When we're experiencing her, I guess, television series and that frequency, I really loved that. And then
Sort of matching the aspect ratio common in the eras of the shows as well.
yeah, 100%. And then the way they utilize it for that, in terms of the authenticness of the eras and those shows at that time, and then also from a perspective point of view as well, like in terms of, we eventually, especially toward the end, we really go in and out of that width, and then, this way as well.
Our theory was the characters that were sort of self-aware in the hex, they would have a full screen, and then when it's back to the characters who were sort of in denial of the hex or controlled by it, they'd have it cropped again, which was an interesting pickup.
Yeah, which I really, really loved. I felt that really enhanced just the storytelling in general. And I guess little clues, like little Easter eggs, if you will, just thrown within there as well. And that was something so simple, but so
Effective.
effective. Yeah. So I just thought I wanted to add that in.
In conclusion, I know I went into this not expecting much out of it, to be honest, and hoping for something, but not sure what I get from this, and I'm leaving really satisfied. It's a solid entry, a really enjoyable series. It definitely gives me more hope and optimism for exploring the other series that we have yet to explore. So really thoroughly enjoyed it. Very good series. I would highly recommend it to people to watch.
Yeah.
And I'm leaving with really good impressions. And honestly, I don't think they will have another season, but I'd be happy for it if there's anything like that. How about you? What are your thoughts on the series?
Yeah, I really enjoyed it as well, especially from that creativity and that mystery side of things. I think they were the things that I particularly loved about it. Barring that generic storyline on Agatha's behalf, thought the series was amazing.
Yeah, I think we both came into this somewhat expecting it to not meet our expectations and to be a letdown with potentially some good moments, but it surprised us both and ended up being a really fulfilling experience. And the only thought I've got is, like, why didn't I watch it sooner? But
Yeah.
lucky we didn't, because then we can watch it with you guys on the YouTube.
All right, guys, that's it from us. We'd like to thank you for joining us on our WandaVision journey, and we'll hopefully get to see you all soon.
We'll be covering more MCU-related titles, so keep your eyes out for that. And remember to give the video a like if you enjoyed it, and let us know down in the comments below any thoughts you may have. Get involved in the discussion. We'd love to hear your thoughts. Until next time, guys, take care.
See you guys.